Now that I'm on my feet, I just wanted to broaden the answer a little bit to talk momentarily about the case of Posada Cariles, because it is a juxtaposition to this case. Posada Cariles is a man who, according to his lawyer, has been in the CIA for 25 years. When you go to an airport, they ask to take your toothpaste if it's more than 3 or 4 ounces. To me, I always felt that was a little ridiculous. But then I read more about Posada Cariles. Posada Cariles was the man who was charged with the first bombing of a commercial jetliner in the Northern Hemisphere. He was charged with planting explosives in a Cuban airliner, a commercial airliner, with both Cubans and non-Cubans in 1973, which killed 76 people as the plane was blown up midair. First time that happened. How did it happen? Posada Cariles, who was CIA trained, had allegedly inserted into a tube of toothpaste the highly sophisticated and then only available to governments C4 explosives in the toothpaste, and it was left in the men's room, blowing a hole in the back of the aircraft, creating a fire, which brought it down off the coast of Barbados. Posada Cariles then was charged with these crimes because the 2 people who aided him were arrested, and they turned state's evidence, and they said they did it at his instruction. And he was put on trial before a military commission, but before the trial ended, the military commission was deemed to have no jurisdiction in the case. He was then indicted by civilian authorities, and as he was awaiting trial for murder of 76 people, he escaped. And where did he go when he escaped? This man charged with the murder of 76 innocents, where did he go? He went to Honduras. And what did he do in Honduras? He was employed by the CIA at Alaponga Air Base in Honduras, working on the Contra War against Nicaragua. A man who was on the run from a terrorist murder attack became a U.S. employee working in Honduras. And what happened after Honduras? He left there, and he was involved in other plots, equally nefarious. And where did he end up? He ended up coming to the United States. And he was finally caught when he gave an interview to the New York Times in which he bragged that he was part of a plot to assassinate Fidel Castro. And the government, now embarrassed by that revelation, had him arrested, what, for terrorism? For a conspiracy to commit murder? No, for an immigration violation. He didn't have the right papers when he came here. And so he was held for an immigration violation. And what happened there? The judge dismissed the immigration charges. And where is he now? He's walking the streets of Miami as a free man. This notorious man involved in an outrageous act of terror. And what does his congressman say? He is a local hero. He's invited to dinners. He and his co-defendant, named Dr. Orlando Bosch, also lives in Miami. He walks his dog on the pier. It was happening during the trial. He was walking. Orlando Bosch was a co-defendant in that bombing. Orlando Bosch applied for residency. And when he applied for residency in the United States, the Justice Department wrote a 17-page report, which we have, saying this man is probably the leading terrorist in the Western Hemisphere. and he should be denied residency in the United States, no less prosecuted. And what happened to him? He retained a younger man who wanted to become governor of Florida, and that man's name was Jeb Bush. And Jeb Bush brought in a young lawyer to represent Dr. Orlando Bosch. And this young lawyer presented papers to the President of the United States, who overruled the Justice Department and ordered that Orlando Bosch be given residency in the United States, the leading terrorist in the Western Hemisphere. And he's there now too. And when the President of the United States comes to speak in Miami, like President Bush does, Orlando Bosch is in the front row, seat of honor. And so you contrast these to the five who are serving life, and it's incredible. But I usually end my remarks because it doesn't stop there. There's blowback here. And the blowback is this. Jeb Bush did become governor. And last year there was a vacancy on the Florida Supreme Court. And he filled that vacancy with the young man who he brought in as a lawyer for Orlando Bush. And what is that young man's name? That young man's name is Batista. He's the grandson of the former dictator of Cuba. And so there you have the whole package.
Well, I think